This video will describe the copy button. It's disabled right now. It's only enabled when we're working on the output structure. For example, let's create a structure, NP with a noun, another NP with a noun and a subordinate clause. And when we go to the output structure, we can click on copy. We can copy a word, a phrase, or an entire clause. Let's say we want to copy this subordinate clause into this noun phrase. Now with the move button, you would always click on an opening phrase or clause boundary. But with the copy or paste button, you click where you actually want to make the copy. So we can click right here, and now there's a copy of that subordinate clause. Now notice here in the structural adjustment rules, it really doesn't matter if you copy it before this noun or after this noun. The phrase structure rules always determine the final constituent order. So here, when you're copying constituents, all you need to do is get them in the right place. By that I mean in the right noun phrase or in the right clause. And then the phrase structure rules will put these constituents in their final order, whether it's before or after the noun. So to copy a clause, we click on the clause boundary and then we click here. If we want to copy a word, we can copy that word right there. If we want to copy a phrase, we can put it right there. And again, you notice arrows showing each copy. When you're moving constituents, as we saw in the previous video, the arrows are on the lower side of the structure. The copy arrows are on the upper side. If you want to eliminate these copies, later you change your mind, you can just click on the delete button and you just delete them. Okay? To illustrate this, let's look at this sentence here. We're at Genesis 21, verse 9, sentence 1. And if we click on the generate button now, but Sarah saw Ishmael treating Isaac badly. And we see this noun phrase, and if we rest our cursor here, it says it was inserted by the theta grid adjustment rule for C sense B. We can look at that rule, and you see that this rule makes a copy of this noun phrase. So we're going to turn this rule off, and we're going to write our own rule. It will copy the agent noun phrase out into the matrix clause. So we turn it off, and we'll initialize. And now you see that C is in violet, or purple, meaning we haven't done anything with its theta grid adjustment rule. Let's write our own rule. This will be triggered by a verb. We'll give it a name. The input structure will be VPC, and then we'll have a subordinate clause with a subject noun phrase. Okay, C will be sense B, to witness an event as it occurs. And let's mark this as an object complement clause. And this will be the agent noun phrase inside the object noun clause. And we want to copy this out to the matrix clause. Linguists call that subject raising. I mentioned in a previous video how we know English copies this out and it becomes the object of C rather than the subject of the subordinate clause, because if we use a pronoun, Sarah saw him treating Isaac badly. We don't say Sarah saw he treating Isaac badly. We say Sarah saw him. And him is how we encode objects, not subjects. So we know this is subject raised. So we're going to copy this noun phrase. So we click on that. Now the button says paste. We click where we want it to be positioned. And now there's a copy. And we can change these features. This will be, instead of an agent, it's now a patient and an object noun phrase. And we want to tag this noun as Big Pro so that we don't get two occurrences of Ishmael in this sentence. And we'll click there. And now when we generate this verse, but Sarah saw Ishmael, and now Ishmael is out in the main clause. And if we rest our cursor there, we see that it was inserted by structural adjustment rule adjectival issues, the rule that we just wrote. And the features were changed, again, from agent to patient by the noun that by the rule that we just wrote.